125th, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Orlando, Indianapolis, Houston, and now,
Yeah.
Black Ink Radio.
What's up? Cool, where you at, Cool?
I'm right here, man. Let me put my little headphones on. I'm right here, man. Hey, man, I'm excited, man. We got some good stuff tonight. And this is already family. Black Ink is already family. Is the thing that's making it special is this is our first show. I know a lot of you guys been following us on Facebook. We've been doing the live. But really, like I said a few days ago, we really never had our own podcast. We was really just doing Facebook Live, waiting to put a podcast together. You know, when you putting a podcast together, at least a professional one, there's a lot of work that goes into it. The engineer, the live microphones. Is one thing talking on Facebook Live, but when you're doing a live podcast, everything got to be right. So behind the scenes is a whole lot of equipment, like my man Rich Mo from Black Ink, Black Ink Radio. He's the engineer. I'm also a part of Black Ink crew and everything. So it's a lot that goes on. So I'm just grateful. I just got to say that I'm just grateful because at the end of the day, we had no idea what we was doing as far as putting a podcast together.
We was just talking, man.
We was just talking, right, Rob? All we knew is that we just had something to talk about.
Right.
So all the technical
part, to be talked about,
or something that need to be talked about, like my partner said. So here it is. We doing our own podcast. So y'all know I'm always going to throw a motivational word out there, man. Anything that you want to do, put your mind to it. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it. Just go ahead on and reach for the stars and keep it moving. So I need y'all to share this. Normally I got 150, 200 people on here. I need us to push this to 300, at least 250. All right, don't embarrass me now. I need y'all to push this, so share this, man. We're going to be doing this every week. We're going to be giving out prizes and helping people with valuable information from going to college to, landing your dream job. We're going to have a lot of professionals up here that can actually give you a great piece of an advice to move forward with whatever you're doing. So please stay tuned. This is a new, I don't want to call it a radio show, but it's a new podcast called Big Impact Mindset. Got to have your mindset right.
The Black Ink Radio.
Right.
Hold on. Partnering with Black Ink Radio now. So I'm gonna tell you why this show is so big tonight. One of the special guests that's on here tonight. This my man. I moved here in 2012 and from New Jersey. I met this brother around 2013. He got a dope youth organization called Music Education Group where he's teaching the kids about music. I know everybody want to be a rapper, want to be a singer, but listen, it's a lot of people making a career behind scenes. You need somebody to shoot videos. You need a manager. You need an engineer. You need somebody to know how to work a studio. So all these important jobs, a lot of our young people is not looking towards going that way because the limelight and the star is that rapper or that singer. So I salute this brother because he's what you call a true professional. A true professional is somebody that know their job in and out and they don't take advantage of it, meaning they know they are at the top, but they so humble you won't even know they at the top. So I salute him for that. When we met, he liked what I had to say. He brought me into 107.9, me and my son Tropicana. We went on a school tour with him, and we never stopped moving from that point on. So the point I'm making is when you build relationships, you hold on to them relationships. When I built this relationship with this brother, I wasn't expecting nothing. All I was expecting was to give us a shot. And he did that. Me and my son Tropicana was living in the West End. Bloods on one side, Crips on the other side. So at the end of the day, we speaking in 40, 50 schools a year, but we going right back home to the hood. And this brother just took to us, man. Anytime we did our private birthday parties, whatever we did, he always showed up. And this is somebody that normally you wouldn't even expect to show up because, like I said, he's a humble giant, but at the end of the day, he means so much to a whole lot of superstars that's high up in the business. So I want to introduce to y'all how this really took place. He called me last week. just on a humbug. Hey, how you doing? I want you to sit on a panel for me in June. Hey, what's up with your podcast, Young and Restless? I said, well, you know, we really never put that together, Rick. He said, oh, no, I got somebody for y'all. He linked us up with somebody that I will introduce to you next week. And it just took off from there. Now, the person that he introduced us to has his own platform. He got the ability to put you on podcasts, iHeartRadio, all the great platforms out there for podcasts and everything. So Rick put us on a three-way immediately. The same day he called, he put us on a three-way. And when the brother, I'm not going to say his name yet, but when the brother asked what the show is about, I broke it down to him, and I said, I can do you one better. How about we do a live show? How about we do a live show, because Black Ink already ready for us to come do a partnership. Suppose we do a live show and then send it in to you, and then you judge it from there. So this show is very important, because this is going to make or break our new show, which is Big Impact Mindset. So how y'all react, how y'all share, how y'all come on, it's going to dictate it, because this live show is going to be pre-recorded and is going to be sent off to the brother. So without further ado, I want to introduce to y'all, this is my man. There's 3 Rick Rosses. If y'all know anything about the entertainment business, there's 3 Rick Rosses in the business. You got the Rick Ross, that's the rapper. Do that. Hold on. I don't need to hear Rich Mo do that. It's the real Rick Ross that rap. Then you got the other Rick Ross. You know, he did time, came home, turned his life around, and got some books out. And you know, I salute him. Y'all know where I came from. And then we got me. This is, and he'll never admit this, but I call him the real Rick Ross. You know what I mean? Because this is his real name. This ain't no street name. This is his real name. Birth certificate. This is his real name. So this is the real Rick Ross. And like I said, he's a humble giant. So without further ado, man, I always would tell him that he's responsible for who I am in the city of Atlanta and in the state of Georgia. He would never take that and run with it, because he just feel like, man, you brought that to the table. You created this movement. You created this. That's just how humble he is. But listen, let me tell y'all something. In order to get indoors, you need the right people to get you in these doors, and he was the right one. So I salute my brother right here. This is Rick Ross. It's only right to have him the first one on the show. He the one that made this happen. I need everybody out there on my live to share this. This man knows a whole lot about life, a whole lot about music, a whole lot about staying in shape. This is the real Rick Ross. Give it up for him.
Crazy, man. Appreciate it. My brother.
Go ahead, Rick. You can just say a little something to the audience. We got about 70 people on here right now.
Yeah, just texting my niece back. But no, bro, I appreciate you and what you guys are doing. I think it's very important that you get your message out. You know,
you talking to Mike.
And you know, it's important that brothers come together to. Can I let this up?
Yeah, you can pull it up.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't used to these mics, man.
Yeah.
You know, behind the scenes.
That's what I'm saying.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, you know, I don't do the mic. But no, I think what you guys are doing, man, is definitely needed. And everybody needs to give their perspective on just life. And everybody has a voice. You know, everybody has a voice. Everybody has something important to say. What people fail to realize is that just because you don't like what the message is, that doesn't mean that somebody else. So, you know, we always say in church, you know, not every table is for everybody. You know, you got to find that table that you can eat from and you can grow from. So, you know, you can't sit at everybody's table and learn. So, me and Coop have you know, this is my brother. First of all, like, we are brothers. We're brothers in the struggle. We're brothers in the community. But outside of that, he seen me at my worst. When I had my back surgeries and I couldn't drive and I couldn't walk, and he was there, saw me going through the pain. Remember the day we drove all the way out to the house to eat lasagna, and I was struggling. But my brother invited me out, and me and my wife, we went. That's just how we do, you know. we say we family. We rock with each other. But man, you gotta, we gonna engage this conversation like we do. You know how I do. Because I can sit up here and rumble all night, but at the same time, I really don't. For me, being in the industry makes I've been doing this a long time. Actually, I was counting years the other day because I ain't had nothing to do for a minute, and I was like, man, I've been doing this 36 years.
Wow.
36 years.
I didn't even
36
realize.
years.
I'm still saying 25.
36 years, man.
Wow.
36 years. I was actually talking to my mentor today, Mr. Teddy Aston, and we were just talking about, bringing up the next generation of executives, and me and him took the same path, and he was there for me, and I came up different than a lot of other people that are in the industry. I actually came up around some real industry OGs, the GOATs of the business, and I learned from all of them. I learned what to do and what not to do, and that was like my college. I started. Well, let me go back a little further, just about the music. I've just always had a love for music from the time that I can remember. My dad, rest his soul, he bought me this little red rocking chair. And he said I would take that chair and I would sit it in front of the stereo. And he would be playing all these records, and I would just be rocking, and I would just be in the music. And that was like my routine every day.
Wow.
I would grab that chair and I would sit it in front of the stereo, and he would play records. And I didn't know, the mind is incredible. But growing up, I always had a thing for one particular album, and I didn't know why. And it was Isaac Hayes' Hot Butter Soul.
Wow.
And my dad said that I would sit there and I would listen to that album and I would fall asleep. And man, as I got older, that album that's like my number two. No, actually it's my number one outside of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Those are like my two favorite albums of all time. Right. I don't care what has come out, what I've listened to. There hasn't been any albums that have topped those two albums for me.
Right.
So I just always had a love for music growing up. Of course, I'm from Atlanta. I didn't come here. I'm from here. As my brother Derek Bozeman would say. I'm a Grady baby. Grew up in Grady homes.
Grady baby.
I'm like ATL, like to the fullest. Auburn Avenue, Hilliard Street, 4th Ward, all this, APS Rays, so it's funny when people say they from Atlanta, and I ask them what part of Atlanta they from, and they say Cobb County or somewhere like that.
Hold on, what'd you say, Rick? Who?
Like,
Cobb who?
Cobb County. I say that ain't Atlanta. Or Decatur. That ain't Atlanta.
So you was all right with, what's her name? Amamosa? Amaretta?
I'm fully in support of Amamosa.
I said Amamosa.
Amaretta.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm glad somebody said it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it took a female rapper to say it.
You was all in on that song.
I was all in, man. I was all in. She messed up though. She went and shot the video in Cobb County. Right. Threw it for a loop. I'm like, man, she's like, man, you had me. You should have just went over to Summer Hill and stood in front of the wall where Hank Aaron hit that home run. You would have she would have killed it. Man, she shot the video in Cobb County. Man, dog.
Wow.
I mean, she took 5 steps and took 20 back.
Wow.
So you being from Atlanta, you seen the game come up from the beginning pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, man, listen, I was, me and my best friend growing up, they used to call me and my best friend growing up the Dirty White Boys.
Whoa.
Yeah, because we ain't listening to nothing but rock and roll, man. I grew up, I mean, of course, my father was a You know, he was a Motown Stax. You know, my dad was 82 when he passed a couple of years ago. So I grew up listening to the Drifters, the Ink Spots, the Cadillacs. I mean, I grew up listening to some you know, Clyde McFadden. I grew up listening to all that type of stuff. I got 48s at home that my granddaddy had.
48.
Yeah, I got 48s. Yeah, I got 48s at home. And so my taste in music was already when I was a teenager. My taste in music was already surpassed all of my friends. So, you know, my parents, we moved out in Adamsville, what they call Flatlands, and mid to late 70s. And my best friend, me and him we clicked in. He played drums, and he taught me how to play percussion. But man, we would sit in the house, we would listen to Kiss, Van Halen, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Rush.
Wow.
I mean, like Boston, you know, like all the rock stuff. Like it was just Jimi Hendrix, The Doors.
I can dig it. I grew up in Ocean City, so
yeah. So that was the music that I listened to. So it got to a point where all my partners, they used to call us the Dirty White Boys because we listened to white music. I didn't care. I'm like, yo, this is what I like listening to.
Right.
But he played drums, and we would go. I would, you know, at that particular time, he was a big drummer, you know, here in the city, and another brother who was an incredible drummer, Sonny Emery, who's played with everybody. Sonny went to Douglas High School, and we went to Harper, and they did a drum competition at this place called the Agora Ballroom, and Sonny smoked everybody because Sonny is like, you can look him up. Sonny Emery is like one of the dopest drummers around, and he's from the A. He still lives here. He just got off tour with Eric Clapton, and he just did his own album. But anyway, Derek was incredible as well. So Derek taught me how to play percussion. So he would be playing drums and I would be playing percussion. So, you know, he was in these local bands around here. This was back in, you know, early 80s, like maybe like around 82, 81, 82. And there used to be a club right down on West P Street called San Susie. And he was playing with this group called Black Velvet. I can't remember the name of it. But they we actually wasn't supposed to be in the club because he was 16, I was 15. We in the club jamming. He playing drums, I'm on percussion. Man, let me just tell you, it wasn't nice when I got home. But it was worth it.
It was worth it.
It was well worth it, bro. It was well worth it. So I just, you know, that was like my first time actually performing in front of a crowd of people. And but for some reason, like I wanted a band. I wanted my own band. I used to have I had a sheet that I used to keep up under my mattress, right? And I had every age from like 15 up to like 20, and every year I would circle it. I would circle that age, like when I got to 17, and I wanted to have my own band. I did in high school.
So you had a vision board at that age.
Yeah,
basically,
I did.
That's what that was.
Yeah, it was a vision board. Like I had from 15 on up to like 20 something. So when I was in high school, I started playing guitar. And I sucked, bro. I was horrible. But we played talent shows, man.
Right.
We would go play talent shows, and we would just play like a couple of songs. We used to play this song by this group called Yes.
Yeah.
Owners of a Lonely Heart. Dun, 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 dun. We would play that. And man, I had this candy red guitar, carrying my amp around. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was a rock star.
You only had 2 notes to play.
Yeah, really. It was a little more than that. But
it was a little more hard.
Yeah, it was a little more than that. But man, I started really getting into guitars. Like and listening to, Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton and Eddie Van Halen. And I was like, it's no way in the hell that I'm going to be able to play like them guys. I put the guitar down. I was like, because I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. A friend of mine was like, yo, man, can I use your guitar? He was like, yeah, you can get it. And I never got it back. So I think
force quit.
Yeah, I think he knew. I think he knew I sucked too. Like,
He should have said, man, let me get that.
Yeah. But I took guitar in high school. I'm gonna tell you something. I think I would have stayed with it if my teacher, they hadn't transferred her to another school. I never forget her name. Her name was Brenda Burks. Miss Burks was cool. Man, she was cool as a fan. Man, she was so funny. But we had a guitar club. And there was some brothers in there that could play. I mean, they could jam, man. We used to play.
Said sound like you were finessing the game. Trop just said that.
Trop. Yeah, man. But it was cool, man, because I'll never forget, man. Like when I was in high school, man, we would guys, they would bring their amps and stuff to school, and we would just plug up in the hallway and just start jamming
Right
in the
hallways.
mornings. Yeah, man.
It's true jam sessions.
Yeah, I mean, like this dude named Benny, man. Benny could play, man, and he was from Bankhead, and Bankhead Court, and I mean, Benny could play, man. So those guys were, I mean, they were like really, really good, man. Like it was incredible. But when she left, I just kind of like, you know what? I ain't really interested no more in playing guitar. And my dad had brought me, he brought me this guitar. I had two guitars, actually.
What made you stop, though? Because she left, but why because she left? Was it because her teaching skills? Because
No, yeah, it was, she was the only one that really could teach, and she really cared about her students, and then they didn't replace her.
Right.
They didn't replace her. So I just kind of, I was doing some other stuff. Matter of fact, I was running track too and playing soccer. So me and another brother, because I ran cross country, and that's cross country because Coach Ross was the coach and he was also the basketball coach. So he would have the basketball players run cross country.
Right.
So me always veering to the left. I was like, you know what? I want to take dance. I think that'll help me, with stretching and all that stuff.
Right.
So I was the first guy to join the dance club.
Right.
So then I said, Greg, hey man, I'm in here with all these girls, bro.
Finesse.
I said, I'm in here with all these girls, man. And then he joined. So me and him were the only two dudes in the dance class. Now this was a class. It was a class, but we also joined the dance club.
Right.
So we would go around doing African dance, and then Derek, he played the drums, so we would also play drums too.
Right.
So it was a cool little setup. And then next thing I know, all the football players started getting into it, and they would come in and she would stretch them out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she would give them all these routines and things like that. So it just kind of spread it. And it just really helped me out. So, I just got into it. I fell into that because I fell into running because of I couldn't do the guitar anymore.
Right.
So then, they called for soccer, and then we started playing soccer and all that. But the guitar actually led me to the running. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got into running.
Okay.
Is because I put down the guitar.
So
now that I'm talking about it, I never really even connected the two because I never really talked about it.
Wow.
And I'm glad you said that, because all the years that I knew you, I never knew you was a runner until the last year.
Mm-hmm.
You in marathons, you in the Peachtree, you in you running 10 miles, 20 miles. What's the longest you ever ran, man? This year, I mean last year to this year, what's the longest you ever ran?
At one time,
Yes.
33 miles.
That's a
33
damn shame.
miles.
That's too much
I
running.
gotta stop and gas up.
Richmo. Richmo.
I ain't just
Wait,
33 miles.
I ain't did 3 miles.
Yo. Wait, let me.
That's why you see this on my finger, because I just did a 50K at Sweetwater last month, and it was so funny because I was at church, and we masked up and all that stuff. So I'm part of what they call the MOH, Ministry of Help. So we actually make sure that the service runs smooth and all that stuff. So we sitting in the back like we do every morning. We talking. So one of my OGs, he sneezed, and I was like, I said, if I get sick,
That's cool. That's cool all day.
I said, if I get sick, I'm gonna kill you. I got sick. I got a cold the week before I ran the race. So I'm trying to get this cold out of me. And I'm like, man, I got to run a 50K on Saturday morning. And I'm like still stocked up and everything. But you know me, I'm a trooper, man. I got out there.
How many miles is 50K?
33.
Whew.
So I run marathons. So ultra, for anybody who want to attempt that, ultra is anything past 26.2 miles.
Wow.
So a marathon. So you got your 5Ks, which is 3.1. You got your 10Ks, which is 6.2, and then it goes up from there. A half marathon is 13.1. And then a full marathon is 26.2 miles.
That's crazy.
So I was like, man, I'm bored of running marathons. So I said, you know what? I'm going to sign up for an ultra. So I was sitting in my office one day, and I was looking for some, and then one popped up, Sweetwater, which is right around the corner from the house. I said, I can do that one. That's like right around that corner from the house.
Right.
Didn't know. Only 36 people ran the race.
Right.
It was only 2 brothers, and I was one. Didn't know that it was one of the toughest 50Ks in the country.
So what was your terrain like? Uphill, downhill?
I mean,
mud?
it was through water. It was uphill. I mean, my toes were black and blue because I was kicking rocks and tree stumps.
Wow.
I mean, it looked like it wasn't even in Atlanta. Wow. I mean, the elevations were going up like crazy. So I finished in like 9 hours.
Rick,
know?
That's too long, Rick.
Yeah. So
No,
I was out there for
not
9
meaning
hours.
too long like it's not good, but it's just too. What do you think about for 9 hours running? What goes through your head? The most I ever ran was the 100-meter in high school. What do you think about, brother?
Do people take breaks?
Right,
I mean, it wasn't.
I was thinking about a Kroger break.
See, it's different. See, that ultra was a trail ultra, so there was a lot of walking. Cause I mean, there's no way you can run straight up a hill like this, So it's a lot of walking. If you Google ultra marathons, you'll see it's different types of ultra marathons. That was a trail, and I didn't realize it until because when we started off, we were running on the street, and then we just veered off to the right, and there we go. And then they was talking about water, and I was like, water? I was like, man, I'm about to get my shoes wet already. But I mean, it was, man. I can't explain it to you when you finish.
Right.
You probably
natural high, right?
You hear people talking about runner's high and all that stuff. It's really true. Like, you reach a level that is just unexplainable. Like, I can't explain how you feel. It's just a feeling that you just don't get doing anything else for me.
Right. So I see, you ran when you were in high school and you ran and all that, but what kept you running? What kept you saying, you know what, I'm going to continue doing this?
Well, actually, let me go back to high school. So, I wasn't, I never been a sprinter or nothing like that. That just never was my thing. I think the first time I tried to do a sprint, I failed. And I never did it again. I was like, cause my mom said when I was little, I would shoot out the house butt naked, and they would be trying to catch me through the projects. So she said, boy, you been running since you was a baby. And she said, I be running through the projects and they be trying to catch me. So I didn't know that, I didn't know where I got it from. But after cross country, then I would go and do track. And my senior year, and then soccer. I love soccer. Like I love soccer. To me, soccer is way much harder than football because, man, dude, I got kicked in the head and had stitches. Man, I felt like a superhero because I was like, I was like,
soccer is a different ball game.
Man, it's a different game.
That's a different game.
It is.
We
harder than football. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, because there was no pass or nothing like that.
Yeah,
so
right.
it was
Skin on skin, bones on
yeah,
bones,
man, it was crazy. And so my senior year of high school, I worked the summer job. And let me go back. So when I was able to, we had summer jobs that we could apply for in high school. And my first job was working at a girls club, off of Donnelly, off of Donnelly, which is off of Cascade. And I worked over there. But my second one, I worked at the rec center over off of Benjamin E. Mays. And there was a brother who he ran track and played ball for Morris Brown. So we built a bond together and stuff. And he's actually the one that turned me on to jazz. So he got me into jazz and took me to my first jazz concert downtown to watch Wynton Marsalis. So he got me on the jazz, and then that's when I started listening to WCLK. But he also ran track, and we would go run. We would go run together. And he was like, "I'm gonna get you a track scholarship, Morris Brown." I was like, "Bet." So he was gonna bring the track coach to watch me run. But the first run that I had, my knees gave out on me. I mean, I was coming around, I was kicking, and my knees just gave out. I don't know what happened, but after that, I was scared to run again. So I didn't run any more my senior year. So my mom and dad, they took me to the doctor. They gave me these exercises to do. So after I graduated, I had been accepted into Talladega State for my Bachelor's of Art, but I didn't go. So I'm sitting around the house one day and trying to figure out life. I'm like, what am I gonna do now? So I put on my shoes, man, and I was like, you know what? I'm going running. And man, I went running, and my knees were feeling good. I never looked back.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just like that.
And that's that type of motivation. So when you get up, you go, you keep going.
You just keep going.
So this what we gonna do. We got about 15 more minutes. I know we started probably about 7:10, right? About 7:10. So we got about till 8:10. So what we gonna do? We gonna switch lanes. Rock got a couple questions.
Yeah,
let's go.
We actually talked about some of the things that we hit on. But one of the things I want to talk to you about is how do you balance everything that you've been occurring, like with music, your family, and even working out and running everything. How do you balance all that?
If you can wrap it in 50 seconds, because we got some more for you.
Yeah, we got some.
Man, first God.
Okay.
And then I just prioritize. I know what's important to me. And I put everything else to the side. So, my prayer life, spending time with Dawn, my wife, of course, taking care of what I need to take care of in terms of business, and working in the community, man. That's it. I don't really. And then my new hobby that I picked up, but I find time to do everything that I need to do. God has given me the ability to handle my time, manage my time.
Management.
Yeah, I definitely know how to manage my time.
So since this show is called Big Impact Mindset, me and Rock gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna ask a question, he gonna ask a question. We don't know what we gonna ask, because your mindset should be on a point of whatever come to your spirit, you should be able to put it out there on the plate. All right. So this is one of the questions that I want to ask. Let's talk about the music in today's youth, meaning the respect that the youth bring to the table, the following of the certain music artists, whether it's rock and roll, because everybody always put rap in a bad lane or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, music is influential, where it don't matter if it's rock and roll, country, rap, or whatever the case is. If you follow it, you follow it. Where do you think we're at today with our youth in terms of how much the music game is influencing them on the good side as well as the not so good side of life?
Let me just say this. Music has always been a driving force for any community. And youth have always been on the front end of, getting that music exposed, in terms of whether it was back in the 50s with rock and roll, or pushing it back further with jazz, and people thought jazz and blues was devil music. The youth have always carried the banner for that, even, when, of course, in our era, hip hop, So, but what I think too is, we have taken music and gotten rid of really the entertainment of what music is. And, we start believing the lyrics of this music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Remember back in the day when they was talking about, they were saying they was, playing rock and roll and they were worshiping the devil and all this stuff. Man, I listened to it all, and Black Sabbath and all that. I never thought about worshiping the devil. And now, even with hip hop, literally taking these records literally and going out and doing stuff. I've had kids say, before they would go out and rob somebody, they would put on certain artists. It wasn't meant for that. You know what I'm saying? It's a form of entertainment. So, I just think that we have to educate our youth about the entertainment industry and about the music, and not to take this thing so literal. I remember one time me and Tip was doing something, and he said to the kid,
Tip, for the people that don't know?
T.I.
Okay.
And he told the kids, he said, y'all don't know how to hit the pause button. He said, after y'all get through listening to the music, y'all think y'all Jesus the Snowman. Y'all want to go out on the corner and sell dope. Y'all want to do all this stuff in these records. It's entertainment. Take it for that and leave it at that. Not so much to, the music is encouraging you to go out and rob somebody or to do something because they're saying it in the music. Like, come on, that's crazy.
Okay. So with that being said, Rock, you got one, Rock?
Yeah. First, I wanted to say this though, because Richard, you being an artist yourself, right? And what Rick was saying with the artist portraying this music and everybody going on the streets and doing what the kids, imitating what they're saying. You as an artist, do you have lyrics? Do you have music as well that, have kids imitating the same thing, or is that something?
I used to. I don't rap about that no more. But I've had music that did influence people. But the way I do music is always about stuff that's real. So the thing is even when I did say things that they could go out and imitate, they had to have been going through what I was going through. It's not just me saying, when I come outside, I'm just gonna shoot a nigga. It's, my friend died, this happened, that happened, right, and now this is how I feel.
Right.
It wasn't me just being like, I'm this type of nigga, and this is what I do to you. So it was always meaning behind mine. So I never felt guilty, right, for rapping like that.
Right. Okay.
But now I realize, for the past probably 10 years, my music has always been about just motivating to get money, motivating to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point I realized that, we do have a voice that they listen to. So I gotta watch what I say.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people are sitting there listening, and you know, I've had people come to me and tell me, "Yo, your music saved my life." I had did a song where I told a story about a dude who was getting money, and in the middle of all the getting money, at the end he got set up by a girl, and the dude said he felt like I was rhyming about his life, and when he heard the end of my rap, he ain't want to end like that, so he stopped selling drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
So here's a question too, Rick, and you being in the industry, when you have guys like Tip, Jeezy, and all these guys talking about selling drugs or doing these other things, how do we get behind that? How do we support that, knowing that these kids are going to emulate these guys? How do we support that?
What you mean, support the music?
Yeah.
I mean, the music, like I said at the beginning, you know, not everybody can eat from the same table. So a 12-year-old kid hearing, you know, Tip or Jeezy or any of or the new guys now that's, you know, rapping about street life, you know, their perspective on it is going to be totally different than somebody who's older. You know what I'm saying? You know, a 14-year-old kid ain't thinking like a 20-year-old man. So a 20-year-old man know that, man, I ain't about to do that.
Right.
A 14-year-old kid might be thinking about going out and being a stick-up kid or something like that. You know, so that's why I think parents should, you know,
bingo,
sit back and listen to the music with their kids, whether it's cussing, whatever the lyrics are. Like, don't run from it. Like, embrace it. Like, if you know, I don't have kids, but I've raised a lot of kids, and I got a nephew who raps, but I would say, yo, let's listen to this music. So what do you think about this stuff? I mean, what do you think about what they're saying? And have those dialogues, have that conversation.
It's a conversation that needs to be had.
Right. Yeah. It's a conversation that needs to be had, you know? And I don't think that, you know, that's definitely not happening, because if the parent and the kid had an understanding of what the music is, or the parent can say, you know what, they didn't really do that. Or if they did, you know, the consequences of what can happen. So you got to have dialogue. We have to communicate, and we have to talk to our kids about it. And that's, you know,
that's a fact.
And that's why, if, you know, you want to go into it, that's why I started the music education group, because I just knew that it was a need for kids to really understand not only the business of music, but also teaching them those life skills. Because I work with a lot of artists, man. They've been super talented.
Name some artists you work with, Rick.
Oh my God!
For the viewers out here.
Not that we're doing any name dropping, but go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, we got 380 people on here.
Oh, we name dropping.
Yeah, name dropping.
I work with Anita Baker, Earth, Wind and Fire, Roger Troutman from Roger and Zap, Big Daddy Kane to Snoop Dogg, T.I., Twister, Tyrese, Lil Baby, Migos, Mary J. Blige. I just got off the road with Kim last Sunday.
I seen that.
I mean,
and these some of the biggest artists in the country, like
yeah,
ever
I've worked
in the world.
How about Maroon 5? You ever work with them?
Nah, you know, I'm the urban dude,
already
man.
know.
You know, we you know, I work with I didn't work with him personally. I worked his records. Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers.
Okay.
Al Jarreau, you know, Al Jarreau, Take 6, Yolanda Adams. You know, I work with BB and CC, well, CC.
Right.
But I work with a lot of artists. Gerald Levert, he was a cool dude. But I work with a lot of people. So, you know, but when I started the music education group, it was about me, my experiences that I had with different artists, and just a lot of them, you know, a lot of them really didn't know the business. They were very talented, and then a lot of them didn't have life skills. You know, just those simple things. You know, getting up early. You know, if you're on time, you're late. You know, getting proper rest. You know,
eating right.
I mean, just all that. You know, just pushing it to the limit every night. You know, smoking and, you know, and drinking, And then, you know, you got to get up at 6 in the morning. Like just those soft skills that we always talk about. And that's why I started the music education group. And also to teach kids that you don't have to be in front of the mic. You can be behind the mic. I've been doing this 36 years, and I've never been on stage singing not one note. And I've outlasted a lot of these artists that have been out. So thank God for that, you know, that they still keep me around. But it was super important to me, and you've seen it in action. And you know, I've even had kids to come up to me after we do these classes and be like, yo, I thought I wanted to do this, but I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
Right.
And you know, and that's the thing. It was never created to create superstars and artists and all that. It was just give them the information and to put them on a new path of if they wanted to go into the entertainment industry, these are the opportunities that they can go into. So that's why I started MEG. We partnered with the City of Atlanta Parks and Recs, where we have the only technology center. You know, that's a fancy word for a studio. That's what my executive director.
What age group do you work with?
We work from kids from 11 all the way up to 21.
Wow.
You know, so we partner with the City of Atlanta Parks and Recs. We have the studio over in Dunbar, in Mechanicsville. We also
so let me interrupt you right there, man, because you, like I said, you're a humble giant. For everybody that's on here, it's 300 plus people on here. There's a lot of people from the inner city, whether you're from Chicago, LA, New York, Jersey. Somebody is from the inner city that's actually on this live. So when he say Dunbar Rec Center, when he say Mechanicsville, just imagine the worst part of the city in your town. Just imagine that, right? And then add 10 on to that. This man came into that environment, and listen, crime is crime, right? I don't think there's no single-handed situation or solution that can combat crime. Crime is crime. But when you got somebody like this brother that actually is touching the young brothers, the nephews, the nieces, the sisters of these so-called people that's out there that's really doing something in the streets, and y'all know what I'm talking about, they're giving this man respect because they understand because of him, my little brother's not in jail. Right. Because of him, my little brother's not 6 feet under. Right. So just imagine, you're talking about a record exec, right? That can go to any label and they'd be happy to hire him, right? Any label. But he don't talk about music. All the years I've known this brother from 2013, we probably had 3 conversations about music.
Cool, hold on. I want to stop you. When I've met him twice, and one of the times I met him, he was talking about painting. He didn't mention music once.
So I'm just letting you know, sometimes people do it because of the likes, the comments, the exposure or whatever. This man do it because it's from his heart. So when me and him linked and we was on a school tour speaking, like I said, he introduced me to 107.9. And when I seen where his heart was, I said, yo, this is unbelievable, because a lot of times when you get rappers to come to the schools, it's for PR purposes. The PR set it up for them to go get the exposure. When you get labels that reach out to you, labels started reaching out to me. Once they knew that I was doing the school tours and they had artists that was starting to rise, they was reaching out to me to put their artists on a school tour. I got some good advice from somebody that's real close to me and said, yo, just fall back. Everybody's not good for your brand. And I listened, and I knew what they was talking about. I ain't gotta say no names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But I knew what they was talking about, and at the end of the day, when you go into these schools, it's a respect thing coming from the principals, the social people in there, the liaison. So when you come into that school, anything that's attached to you, if they make a mistake, it's just like you made a mistake. So at the end of the day, I had to be taught everything's not good, no matter how much the kids love them. But if they coming in there with the pants sagging and they talking about shoot them up, bang, bang, or whatever, that might not be a good look for this particular school. So I had to learn the real game of going into the schools and speaking and putting out that positive message. Because if I'm putting out a positive message and then a rapper come behind me talking about I got 3 Uzis, I shot the teacher, the principal, and the students, I just ruined my whole message. Right. So this brother really put me in the right place business-wise. Speaking wise is a whole nother, that's a God-given talent. But when you turn it into a business, you have to follow rules and regulations. And I'm going to say his name. I appreciate you for that, Rick. I appreciate that. I was trying to hold back, bro.
It actually transforms community.
You gave that to me, bro. Yeah. You gave that to me.
I mean, because it's real. I mean, I've experienced those things, you know. So, you know, trust me, man. I don't mind taking the hit because I know how to. But my goal is always to share those experiences with somebody else so they don't have to take the hit.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I've been called this word before, a trailblazer. You know, you're the first one in the forest. You can look at the trees and know what's beyond the trees. You can see the vision. My thing is always to blaze that trail, because if I can make it easier for the next brother or sister to come behind me, then they're going to do the same thing for somebody else. You know, so the worst thing you can do is to stop moving, because when you do that, the trees grow back and the trail is covered up.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty deep.
That's deep.
You know,
and you transforming communities. That's what you're really doing, though, because you're taking these kids and you're putting them in certain situations so they can really move on and be positive influences in the community. You're transforming.
Yeah, we just watering, bro. We're sowing the seeds now, and hopefully later, you know, those seeds will grow. People will continue to water them and to pour into these kids. You know, so that's my thing. I used to try to save every kid. I used to get mad. I'd be mad. I didn't save them. I didn't reach them. They ain't getting what I'm saying. You know, they're not getting it. But years later, you'll see somebody, they'll walk up to you and they say, Mr. Ross, I appreciate what you did for me. Or their mom, you know, will see me and they say, you know what, you really helped my son, you know, even with my godson. I've had him since he was 7 years old, you know, and he came to live with me and my wife, you know, his last 2 years of high school. And then I had to kick him out. I had to show him, like, you want to be a man, you can't be, ain't but one man in the house.
Right.
But he realized that when he got out the house, and now he handled his business.
So I want to touch on that real quick. How important is that, though, that you have your family? Because I know, like I said, I met you before at K-Camp Studio the first time I met you, and then at Coops you were displaying your art. But I know you mentioned your family twice. How important is that to have your family?
Man,
support?
my family is very important to me. You know, my wife, my ride or die chick. You know, we'll be married 30 years the end of this month.
Great woman.
So, you know, my wife is my partner in everything that I do, except for running and painting. But I mean, she's a part of everything. She's our finance manager for the nonprofit, because, you know, if she can handle our money at home, she can handle our money for the nonprofit. So she you know, she can, you know, she'll squeeze a quarter to the Eagle screen. So, you know, it's you know, so my family is important. My dad was my superhero. You know, he died back in 20 from COVID, and you know, I still have not, you know, this is something that's been missing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because he was, you know, he was a great man, and that's where I learned how to, you know, serve others from him and my mom. My mom retired from Grady Hospital in the ER. So, So when I'm talking about this stuff, man, I'm telling y'all stuff that, you know, I've heard my mom come home and talk about these young kids coming in there shot, stabbed, all this type of stuff. Police got them handcuffed to the bed. I mean, just all type of stories. So it's like, you know, we have to get involved, man. It's our obligation to get involved. And I used to question, and I used to get mad and ask, you know, why people don't do this. Everybody ain't called to do this work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You don't get into this, you know, being a community activist for youth and expect somebody to pat you on the back. That's just like in the record industry, like what I do. I can take a record number one. I mean, okay, cool. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, I don't expect no pat on the back for doing something that I'm supposed to be doing anyway.
Right.
But that's how people look at life, man. You know, they think because they doing something that they supposed to get a pat on the back.
I had some guys be like, I take care of my kids. Hey, you're supposed to take care of your kids.
I mean, you don't get no reward for doing something you're supposed to do anyway. Like, you know, your reward is seeing them do it for their kids. That's the reward. Making sure that you get them out the house, get them to a place in their lives where they can do the same thing for their kids that you did for them. Now, some is good, some is bad.
Right.
But you'll get to a point in your life where you know you're gonna have to figure it out. See, my dad didn't talk a whole lot. My dad was a man of action. He ain't sit me down and be like, son, you know, this.
Right.
My dad got up every day. He went to worked 2 jobs, came home, provided for the family. You know, we had family time. You know, we were getting in the little raggedy car and go to the mall and do this, even though they were horrible with money. But we had a good time.
Exactly.
You know, we had a good time, and it was me, my dad, my brother, and my sister. So I grew up in a structured home. Now my sister crazy as hell, and my brother, his birthday is today.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
And he's a nut, but
that's the one always like dancing, right?
Yeah, he
that's
like
my
that.
Man.
Yeah, but that's my family, and I love them, and I do anything for them. That's why I was saying my niece was just texting me because her son is, I'm not gonna steal his thunder. But you guys will be hearing about him real soon.
That's what's up.
So yeah, and he's in high school. He's 17 years old, straight A student in high school, and he's about to do something really, really crazy. So y'all follow me, and you'll see it. But
the family aspect is real important.
Man, very important to me, man. I missed like several important meetings last week because I was dealing with my family, making sure that they were good.
That's a missing art these days.
And that's what we're supposed to do. That's why, you know, when my dad died, I had to step into those shoes. You know, I had to be the one with the calm head. I had to be the one that made sure everybody is good. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. I was in Birmingham last week. My brother-in-law, his daughter, my niece, just got her master's. She's going to be the first doctor in the family.
Congrats.
4.0 student, UAB, like, she's getting her white coat later on this summer.
Let's go.
And, you know, so, you know, very, very proud of her. You know, very proud, man. So, you know, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
I'm truly blessed to be in a space where I can give back. And I don't expect anything, man, but greatness out of people that I'm working with and greatness from these kids. But outside of that, man, you know, I'm good. I had a great meeting yesterday. I was on the road, and I was in Nashville because I had Kim up there. He's my brother. You know, we ain't blood brothers. We like with Coop, we brothers. And he's a state representative for Tennessee, and we presented Kim with a resolution up there before his show.
Okay.
And it was really, really cool. So friend of mine who works for Atlantic Record, he know him, and of course I'm in the art. He turned me on to this other brother who just moved from Oakland down to Motivational, Alabama. And I went to see him. He's a dope artist, and man, I was just sitting at his feet, just soaking up knowledge, man, about the art game.
Okay.
And so, you know, you never stop learning, bro.
Okay.
You never stop learning.
So with that being said, I know we got about 1 minute, 2 minutes to wrap it up, and this is called Big Impact. What is it, Rock?
Big Impact Mindset.
Big Impact Mindset, and this is our first interview. This is our first real.
I mean, this is gonna be hard to follow up, though, man.
This is our first real podcast. Anytime we usually co-host with Black Ink Radio Dynasty, our partner, dope female. A lot of times we go live on Facebook, but we really never had our own podcast. So this is our first podcast, and you can see I got a do-rag on. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. How you see me is how you know me. You know what I mean? But for us to have Rick Ross as our first guest, come on, it's gonna be a hard act to follow. And just so y'all know what to expect from a podcast like this, listen at the name, Big Impact Mindset. We want to challenge your mindset. So it's not going to be no beating around a bush. It's going to just be keeping it real so we can actually put information out there that might help somebody. Is somebody out there going to receive something that one of these four brothers up here said? You can't see the one in the back. That's the one that's making the show go. Rich Mo. You know what I mean? So it's going to be some type of information that y'all can run with and rock and roll with, because we're going to talk about everything: credit, stocks, what GPA you need to go to college, why the youth is acting like they acting, why the adults acting like they acting, why you got 8 baby moms. It's just going to be all kind of stuff we're going to talk about.
And you might get offended. Some of y'all might get offended.
And that's okay, because normally when you mature and you get offended, that means you're going to straighten up and go and do what you need to do. Right. Because anytime I'm offended, guess what I do? I go in my hiding place, I meditate, I get on my knees and I start praying and I say, God, make me better. Put me in a better position to go above what I did. You know what I mean? So it's nothing wrong with being offended, especially if somebody's not doing it for ill will. If they doing it because they speaking the truth, take that, run with it, and just say, I'm going to go ahead on and take this to the next level, and I'm going to better myself.
Just grow.
Just grow. That's what it's about. It's 300 people in here. Y'all could have been anywhere. Y'all here. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this is our first podcast. This is a demo podcast. This is a pilot podcast, but it's a real podcast. And I'm so happy that y'all joined us, because one day this might be an NFT. Yeah, I'm in that digital world. This might be an NFT, the first of many. So with that being said,
hey, you know what's crazy though?
Yes,
that we have Rick Ross up here, right? A music executive. And we barely talked about music, because there's so much more in life to talk about than just music. And then we kick it with the music exec, and we only talk about this much music.
Exactly.
That's a great thing in my life.
So with that being said, Rick, you're gonna be the first one, and this is what we're gonna do every show. You got 30 seconds to say how did you bring the big impact mindset to whoever you touched in your world? I don't care if it's the youth, I don't care if it's the music game. How did you touch them with the big impact mindset?
Man, I hope it was just by example, and and really just showing love, man. That's one thing we don't talk about, and we don't say it to each other enough, is that we love them, and I think once we can say that to somebody, man, it changes the whole climate of conversation. Because you got to understand something. Most people go through their lives, first of all, they go through their lives not knowing who they are, not having a passion about anything, and not knowing their purpose in life. You see people, they struggling, they trying to figure it out. And most people die. My pastor said the richest place are the cemeteries.
Wow.
The richest places are the cemeteries.
Wow.
All those dreams, all those things people wish they could have did but didn't do, they died with them.
Wow.
And me, myself, I just refuse to be one of those people. And I hope, because of the life that I live, that it has an impact on somebody else, and they can live, they can, as my man Lil Duval say, they can live their best life. Mm-hmm. And that's it at the end of the day, bro. We got to reach one, teach one, man. Yeah. All day, every day. So I for me, I just it's about just doing the work.
Okay.
It ain't about talking, man, because when you talking, you can't be working.
Sure.
You can't talk and get the work in at the same time.
Exactly.
You gotta just dig down in it and work, man.
I pray this energy is contagious. Seriously, because this is good energy. Yeah. And I want this to spread. This has to be contagious.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is. And I love it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Rick, we appreciate you. I know you're a busy brother.
Yes.
And I took one phone call. It ain't take no guessing. You hit me right back and say, bro, I'll be there.
Oh man, you know
how we get down. And I appreciate you for that,
Come
bro.
on, man. You know how we get. You know how we get down. You bought a couple of my paintings when
and they're nice paintings too. I seen it.
Real nice.
I mean, that's a whole whole nother thing right there, man. Like
When you
the
support
painting,
like that, right, bro?
Yeah, man. You know,
I need to talk about that. I want to talk because I was at that painting reveal too. I want to talk about that as well.
Come back down the road. This can't be his first and last. This can't be.
Nah, man.
This can't be his first and last.
Nah, it's a lot going on, man. I'm just blessed, man. I will say this, you know, you just never know how people feel about you and your work, and it's always good to get your flowers when you're alive. So
I love that.
My mentor hit me up it must have been last month, and he texted me, and he said, "Hey, you're being nominated for the Hall of Fame," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." I didn't know what he was talking about.
Right.
And then he texted me back and said, "Congratulations." So I was like, okay. So I still didn't get it. I'm just like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. And then I started seeing, you know, Hurricane Dave post something, Derek Harper from AMJ, Darlene McCoy, Rashard Richards.
Big dogs.
They all started posting stuff, and they were saying, you know, I've been inducted into the National Black Radio Hall of Fame.
Come on, man.
I had
Give
to
it
go
up.
back. I had to go back, and I called Teddy and I said, Teddy, is that the National Black Radio Hall of Fame? He said, yeah. He said, you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was like, man, I didn't even know I was being considered.
Let's go.
But you know, so I got to go to St. Louis in October, which is on Dawn's birthday. I'm being inducted into the
Congrats.
So you just do the work, man, and hope, and you want to reap those benefits while you're still on this side of life, because it's easy to give somebody something when they're dead.
Yeah. So
Give
when
it to
people,
them when they're
so
alive.
when people go to the Black Radio Hall of Fame and see Rick Ross indicted, it's this Rick Ross. It's this one. It's not the other Rick Ross that's inducted.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
So with that being
I'm gonna take
said,
credit on that.
So with that being said, Rock, we'll see y'all next
Yeah,
week.
we gonna sign off, right?
Okay, we're gonna sign on Rich Mo. I love you.
Same here, brother. Love.
And you did
Love.
your thing, bro. Rick Ross, I love you, brother.
Love you too, my brothers.
And let's
Thank
make
you, Rick.
this happen
Appreciate
and let's
this,
keep
man.
this going.
Absolutely.
And I love y'all 300 plus people that jumped on here. Next week we need 400. We gonna keep pushing the envelope. Salute.
Big
Coop.
impact.
Big impact mindset. Get your mind right.
Get your mind right.
I'm out of here.
You are now tuned in to